Hello, everybody. This is Peter Palmiotti, making comics in art, episode 227. Friday the 13th, always good. Um, I want to mention I saw Elliot Rodriguez, who was on my channel previously, has a YouTube channel, and I shared the link on my community tabs on my channel, so you can go check out his channel, check out his videos, subscribe to his channel, all that. He's a new YouTuber, but an artist for a long time, and fan of his work, and it's a super nice guy. So go check it out. Yeah, I wanted to mention something else. I don't know. It's I've been busy. I posted the inks to the Cyberforce homage cover that Nicholas Gear hired me to do. I'm going to sell that. Maybe I'll wait for an auction. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But if anybody's interested, they could message me directly on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever. Yeah, had a lot of fun with that piece. It took longer than the average piece. Incredibly detailed. But yeah, if you haven't seen it already, go check it out. I posted it everywhere. And that's pretty much that. We got a guest today. We got Matt. Is it Simecek or something like that?
Yeah, it's Simecek. Yeah, but mostly since I've been online, people just refer to me as ShadowPunk.
Right.
And I stuck, right? It just stuck. So, and it's easier than Matt Simecek.
Yeah.
But that's how life goes, I guess, right?
Yeah. Well, nice to meet you, man. Yeah, you showed me a lot of artwork from your project, and I'm not normally like a 3D like comic guy. Like I've seen a bunch of them, and most of them look, I don't know, generic, and not really creative. I'm assuming that it's all 3D generated. Maybe.
You're talking about my book?
Yeah, your book.
My book is not 3D generated.
Oh, it's not?
I use 3D to do the backgrounds because I can, right? So I use that as like I'll have like a city, I'll build a city with boxes, simple boxes. But
Right.
then I'll put that in the camera where I want it, and then I'll use that as my template. But I don't generate
So
that in. Yeah, I draw that out and I ink it and everything.
really, because it has like a 3D look to it.
Well,
Things.
that's why. Yeah.
Well, my bad. What do I know?
Well,
Um,
I think your eye is really correct because when you look at some of the scenes, I'll put, where the camera is. All the objects feel like they're in the scene, right? Like the buildings, for example, or whatever. That is the effect you get from a 3D environment. So that might be what you're kind of honing in on.
right. Well, we'll definitely show off. What you want people to see right now. Um, you're so the book is called ShadowPunk, and you'll be launching. What is it? June 18th.
June 18th, correct?
Yeah, and it's on the cover of this video. Um, yeah, Michael Bancroft. You'll be launching it from his channel.
Yeah.
Which he does freaking amazing videos. It's so funny.
Well, he really is, and he is a character of a guy, which really
Yeah.
helps his channel. I think that is a thing some people do. They have their different ways of doing it. Like Ethan's different than Michael, right?
Right.
But they have or like Mandy Summers, she's different, but their personality comes through, and I think that is one of the factors that helps them grow the channel.
Yeah.
I don't actually have that quality myself. I'm not a but maybe it's something that people can develop. As time.
Yeah. It's like I've been I've been doing this. I don't know. I've been on YouTube. I started my channel, like I created my channel back in 2007, but I think from 2012 thereabouts, I've been making videos, and
Oh wow.
like, I'm not editing anything now. I might in the future. I'm way too busy this year. But I've gotten creative in the past. Not so much recently because I'm just buried in work. But yeah, it's like I do like playing around. I do like, like experimenting with what you can do with video and all that, and it is a ton of fun. But also, yeah, it's like either get work done or edit some videos.
Is
Pick
that
one.
so? Time's a factor, right?
Yeah, time is definitely a factor.
Because
Um,
you end up, it seems simple, but people will say, well, just do the thing with the edit, and then you're done, and then you're like, yeah, but I did that, and it's 1 o'clock, right? And and
yeah,
somehow fixing it and changing it and coming up with a different idea and whatever, you know, um, that's how it works. Your day's half gone.
but I am inspired by all these creators and what they're doing. Like I don't know if you probably know John Sontag,
Oh yeah,
uh, or is Joe
Joe.
Gerson. Yeah, so many people, so many names. And he's doing what, the second anniversary of art and stuff tonight, and then he's launching tomorrow night. He does incredible videos too. And it's like I'm an old timer. I'm traditional. I'm totally old school. Um, but I'm inspired by all these kids.
Well, yeah, it is interesting how like all the different artists have different styles. See, what I'm doing is a lot different than what you're doing, but you know, it's one of those things where everything comes around, right? One day they're going to go, well, I want the new thing, and then in a little while they're going to go, I'm tired of the new thing. I want the life that was in the old thing, the
Yeah.
traditional. You know what I mean? And you can't ever win that cycle of a battle. I think in my mind, you just do what you do, and you do
Yeah.
it the best.
Yeah. Definitely. Like, yeah, if you start chasing, buses around, eventually you'll get hit. Um,
Well, I saw an interview with David Finch a while ago, long time ago. Excuse me, and he was talking about how while he was doing the Avengers, he started to try to use 3D in building his environments, and it totally destroyed his process. And it turned a simple thing into something really challenging. And so you got to be careful with what you do and what kind of avenues you go down sometimes, and um right now I'm doing also doing 3D printing, right?
oh, cool.
So
Yeah.
I've been sculpting and creating characters for some people, and then I've been printing my own character as like a miniature,
Yeah.
and but the printing process is not simple. It's got like 20 different variables, and you got to know how to do them all right. And you end up wasting a whole day just getting it to work. So things don't work the way normally you think that they should. So you can really just, but I've ended up getting it correct now. I think I've got it down. Knock on wood. But yeah, so and on my channel, I'm making some of the. I don't know if you've seen them, but I made Cyberfrog, and I made a bunch of different um, Comicsgate characters, and so I printed them and painted them as miniatures. So I'm
Right.
handing those out for people that retweet my pinned tweet, right, of my book,
Right.
and people like them. They like the characters, and I think they like the fact that you get to hold something in your hand, painted or whatever by somebody, so yeah.
Yeah, it's like I've seen like miniature little plastic things that people have been making on campaigns and stuff, and those are really cool. And like eventually, I would like to get somebody to make them of my character.
Oh
Uh,
yeah,
I have my own character retro. The book will be out later this year. Um,
cool. So is
yeah.
this a page from it?
No, this is a graphic novel I'm working on. A friend of mine, Mark Torres, wrote and created it. The artist is Jade Smith. I'm inking it, and it'll be published by Apex Comics Group.
Oh, cool.
Um, yeah, it's like a bunch of kids who get superpowers, possibly by aliens. It's like however it goes. I read it like years ago, and just like getting around to finishing the inks now.
Oh
Uh,
wow.
it's a long story, but
Well,
um,
it's kind of funny that you bring it up because I'm watching you ink it, and so one of the things was I I I worked on the animated movie for many years, right? And I said,
right,
when I was done, I said maybe I'll do a comic book because I see that people are making their own original characters and whatnot. So
yeah,
I figured, how the inking part was something I knew that I couldn't ramp up too fast because
right.
inking is so technical and you got to have so much control. And I thought there's no way I'm going to make that's like Mount Everest for me. So the way I ink my comic is I draw things like the characters and whatnot, and then I'll ink them everything in Adobe Illustrator,
Okay,
right? Which is a kooky way for people to do it because it's not traditionally what you would normally. You don't have the thick and thin, right? You don't have that kind of stuff, and but it's created like I'm hopefully it makes a unique style for my book,
right.
But yeah, so.
If you wanna, like get some artwork, or we could jump right into what you got animated, what you want to show off.
Oh, okay, yeah, yep.
People
Let
can
me let
get
me check it out.
besides the cover, more an idea of what you got going on.
Can you see my screen?
Yeah, I'll share it.
Okay. I hit no. Can you see it? I hit share.
Well, I mean, I got to click on it for people to see
Oh,
it.
is that okay? I didn't know that.
Yep, yep,
Okay, so you can see it now.
yep.
Okay, so I'll can I play my trailer to my movie to my book?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
So I made two trailers, one for the animation and one for the comic book. So here is the oh, wrong way. Um let's see. Here's animation to my comic book
Okay.
without audio.
There you
Okay, so that is the animation to my comic book. And so when I was do when I made the animation to the I'm sorry, the trailer to the animation, and I thought, well, people will think that the animated why does the comic book look different than the animated trailer, And people don't really care about this factor, I realized, but I didn't know that. So I made one for each one. So here
go.
is
Right.
the trailer to the animated movie.
All right.
There you go.
Yeah. So good. So
Thanks,
good.
man. Yeah, yeah. It took a while to make. um, yeah. So it probably took me about 6 months to make it.
Wow.
Yeah, the animation really making the characters and doing all that really is time consuming, right? Um,
Yeah.
so I can explain the story to your viewers a little bit.
Yeah.
And I can show
Absolutely.
them some of the artwork. So my story takes place in the futuristic city of Detroit, which is where I'm from. Um, and it centers around this girl. And so I have the animated movie is like the prologue to the comic book I'm gonna launch. And in the
All right.
animated story, she's traveling with her family, like an Oregon Trail type thing. She's
All
traveling with
right.
them overland, and they get detoured into the city of Detroit without realizing it. And the city is controlled by an evil guild. The city's totaled, right? It's like a Mad Max type world. So um, at one point, she's when the comic book starts, she's separated from her family and she's trying to find them. And she knows that the guild has something to do with where her family is. So while she's living in the ruins of the city, she's kind of living like an animal almost. And she becomes pulled into the larger story of the guild and the gangs that control the outside of the city. If anybody's ever watched the Batman Beyond, the cartoon, have
All
you ever
right.
seen that?
Yep. Yep.
So in my story, she has a mentor like he did in Batman Beyond. So there's an older guy who I'll show you a picture of him if I can get it. So he is the mastermind technical wizard behind all the tech that she uses to go up against this evil guild. And it's somewhere. Here we go. So this guy here is her mentor, and he builds her suit, her backpack, and he's going to give her intel, and he's going to have her go out and find out about, uh, gather information about what's happening with the guild, and she wants to find her family while she's doing this, and it's gonna be a contentious relationship between the two, um, and that's kind of the first issue is going to be by the end of the issue she will become ShadowPunk by the end of the first issue.
Nice.
So I made a bunch. Here's a couple of pages from the actual book. These two here are some of the pages I've got done. I'm drawing, inking, and coloring everything myself.
Right.
So it's kind of time consuming, as you can imagine.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'm sure you're pro, so you know that like, um, it just the process. I started to do the process like a normal, like I would do the pencils, and then I would ink everything, and then I would move the colors, and that would be it, right? But I found out that I would go backwards, and I would tweak stuff in the pencils, and add elements here and there, and rearrange things. So I'm really into that process, and it does take some time for me. But I'm hoping that as time goes on, my process will become streamlined. Um,
Is this so? Like, is this ongoing, or will it be a miniseries?
it's going to be an ongoing story. It's designed to be that way. Yeah.
Okay.
Say again.
I said okay. Yeah.
Oh,
That's great.
okay. Yeah, yeah. I mean, and as I develop other characters for the story, maybe I'll do like offshoots or separate stories. One, I might want to do a thing where, so in the animated movie, which is about 9 minutes long, I, I, you don't see her separated from her family. I couldn't finish that much animation, right? It was just too much. So
Right.
I finished 1/3 of that story, and I would like to tell how she ended up being separated. But I might do that in comic book form at some point. Um,
Right.
but I'm not really sure. But anyway, my normal process is just to tell this story right now, and to get people involved in her and her up and downs, and you know, get people invested in her as a character.
Right. Yeah. I love the fact that you know, like, so you're from there, but I love the fact that it's in Detroit. That, you know, it's like more and more people are trying to do stories outside of New York. You
Oh,
know,
I
the
see.
typical.
You're right, like Gotham or Metropolis type of deal.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Y- Well, you know, I didn't. It hadn't really occurred to me until a certain point that I should make it Detroit, because, and it really paid off in my mind because it really cemented the whole story for me. But
Right.
I was able to go, and I mean, even today, I could go down. I went down there at one point and took tons of photos of the buildings. But I can always go back down and take more, right? Um,
Right.
I would like to get like a drone where I could raise my camera up and shoot things from different perspectives. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't. That could go bad, right? That could end up like I. It could my drone could be stuck on the top of a building or something, or it could crash. I have no idea, And the drones are expensive to buy, so I don't know when I'll be able to do that either. So, um,
All right.
yeah. So, uh, but so here's one of the promotional images. I think I sent you this one. This is like a montage of all the characters that are inside the story.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yes.
and so when I launch my book, my plan right now is to have uh the stretch goal tiers like people do,
Right.
right? Um, and my theory right now is that I'm gonna have my first stretch goal is gonna be a big sticker. My second stretch goal is gonna be those metallic prints that people get
Right.
that are like the size of your cell phone or something. And then which will be, I think, this print right here, this image right here, and then my top tier will be, I think I'll do metallic foil cover.
Cool.
My cover is this one right here, which is all blue, red, and black.
Yep.
So I'm thinking that maybe that would look cool as a metallic foil,
Yeah.
because of the graphic nature of it. Um,
Yeah. I love what you're doing with the colors, like that you're keeping it mostly blue and red and a lot of the images. It's really striking, you know.
oh, thank you. Yeah. It was
And you got a
I
great sense of design as well, like especially like the Shadowhawk logo there. I mean, it's amazing.
Oh, what's funny? What's kooky is that I was on
I'm
talking to
so
another
pumped.
guy, and
Yeah.
he was saying he was asking me about the logo, and he told me something I didn't know about it, and I designed it, right. So
Right.
he told me that, how the spikes come out of the letters and they rotate around, right?
Right.
He told me that is like the profile of the girl with the spikes coming out of her helmet head, like a mohawk.
Okay.
Like she's
Yeah.
facing
Yeah.
left, and I'm like, oh my god, I didn't even think that. But it's you know, and I generally don't do. I used to do logos for people once in a while, but
Yeah.
logo work is so hard.
Yeah. To come up with something unique and striking for
Well,
sure.
the other thing too is, like, let's just say you did a logo for somebody. Um, you know, the logo is like an identity crisis for the person you're doing it for, and it's got to be you have to figure out what they want, and
Yeah.
it's gonna obviously represent their thing, their company, or their product, right? So it's so you do 45 versions and they still don't really see the thing that they were looking for, but they don't know what that thing is.
Yeah.
You know, and you're like, oh, okay, well, I've done 45 versions, you know. I mean, I might not be the guy for this particular job. You know, but I guess it's a nature of that kind of work. But yeah, thank you for saying that, because I did a couple different versions of this logo and I ended up landing directly on top of this one, you know. So,
Yeah. It's really
but
nice.
yeah, so one of the things I did when I learned, I was trying to figure out how to do my colors, is and to grow my Twitter channel as well, is I colored some pros. I went back and I found like a George Perez Wonder Woman, you know, and I found like a ton of Spider-Man stuff. I did a bunch of Ethan stuff that I colored. I can show you those
Right.
real quick. Here's
Yeah.
a pit that I did of Rob Willis did this pit.
Nice.
Yeah, he did a great job, and I'm like, that's cool, man. That thing looks like a freight train coming right at you. Um,
I love this.
and and I ended up. I'll show you one of the Ethan ones I did if I can find it. So here's one, a cyber frog.
Nice.
Yeah, I took me a while. It was really difficult to do because it was so detailed. But you know, the first one I did, then I looked at what Kyle Ritter did after I did it, and I'm like, okay, I can see that he's awesome, and I got to get there, you know.
Right. Right.
So it kind of helped me up my game as I was starting to learn. Um, let's see if I can find another one. Here's one I did, another Cyber Frog one. You know, and I don't know if he ever used red and blue on these characters at all. You know, I bought Ethan's. He has a coloring book for kids, so I bought that because I could get pure black and white images out of it. You know what I mean? And so I was
Right.
able to color those things. You know, but it really helped me when I was trying to figure out ShadowPunk and how I would color ShadowPunk. And originally, I was coloring everything, skin tones, brown hair, you know, everything's a color, you know, and I'm still kind of doing that to some degree. But I really started to like and notice that people appreciated my red and blue color scheme.
Yeah. Yeah. It
You
stands
know,
out. It's like, because not a lot out there looks like that, you know.
yeah, I mean, I kind of just bumped, you know, I think our job as artists is to spot cool things when we see them.
Yeah, pretty much.
You know, yeah, you know, I mean, having a good eye for that kind of thing is half our job, you know. So
Yeah.
I was lucky enough. I was like, I colored my cover the normal way, and I'm like, that's something, but it's not striking. It doesn't jump. And then I said, you know what? What if I make it? So she's shadow punk, right? So like in the 80s and 90s kind of punk rock kind of way. What if it's
Right.
like a velvet poster feel, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you know, that they have those velvet black posters, and they were. What if it was kind of like that? And it didn't end up looking like velvet, but it ended up giving me a direction I could go in. You know.
It is that vibe though. Like, you know, like with my character Retro, I'm definitely thinking along those same similar lines,
Yeah.
and I will be coloring my own book. Except I'm not gifted at computer coloring at all. It's going to be very 80s looking until I just, you know, grow my skills and whatnot. But yeah, it's like that your work there, man. It really it just it it's almost more 3D looking because of the color combinations you got going on. You know?
I think you might be right. You're
Yeah.
right. That is a factor. I think there's like a graphic nature to the way I color it.
Yeah.
So it doesn't look like your typical X-Men comic, right? It,
Not at all.
you know, And so I think,
In a good way.
there's, yeah, in a good way, quite honestly, I can't do that, right? I can't do Jim Lee. I can't do what he does. And I
Right.
don't want to, but I think that as artists, and you can confirm or deny this, uh, I think that people want your particular vision. They want to know
Yeah.
why Peter is cool and what his vision on things is, and especially when you're doing your own book like retro. I think people
Yeah.
want your cool stuff, man. They want to see what your vision of the world is, I think. And I think that's our job as artists, is to unlock that and do that kind of thing. But easier said than done, because it's a struggle to get it to where you want to get it, um, but once you find it, you better be ready to grab a hold of it, I think. So if you find
Yeah.
that color scheme that you like, go for it, grab it. Have you thought about color schemes at all?
Um, it's like I initially worked with a colorist, in fact, two, and they didn't work out. So there was some back and forth in regards to, what you're doing here doesn't look right. What you're doing here would be better if blah, blah, blah. And as I was doing that with them, it was like, I do have a good sense of what I like and what needs to be done. So there has been, yeah, like I surprised myself in what I intuitively knew what to do. It's years of working in this industry, seeing my work colored, and 90% of the time being like,
Oh, is that right? Okay, yeah.
it's like I know what I hate, and that helps me to get to where what I like. So it's
Well,
definitely, yeah.
there's a lot of truth in that, because I think inherently, you probably know the best way to color your work, because the color
Yeah.
in the black and white go together, right? It might also help if there are really good colorists out there that you could go, I like that thing that they do right there, and I like this thing over here, and take those
Yeah.
things. Because by the time that you color retro, you will end up changing it to your exact specifications. Dialing it in,
Yeah.
as they say. So it won't, it'll never look like you copied anything, because, by the way, they copied somebody else, by the way, too.
Yeah. Yeah. We all learn from each other, and it's like, and that's that's not a bad thing. I mean, that's really how it's been done throughout the ages. The Renaissance painters, got were influenced by real life and nature and everything. Um, so it's only natural.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's exactly true. I mean, I think in the old days, as a student, you would literally copy master painters,
Yeah.
right? And so you would sit down and you would look at their Rembrandt, and you would copy his painting of his, and that's how, one of the ways you would learn, right? I mean, we don't do it that
Yeah.
blatantly, because we have more options, I think, but that is, it's not a bad approach. Have you ever
Right.
thought about finding somebody to do like a color palette of your work, and then you take that and then you color the rest of the book?
Um, well, I really want to discover, like, I'm gonna give it a go, and if I completely hate it, then I'll get input. But I'm of the sort that I really just want to give my own shot, and if it sucks, it sucks. It's like
Right.
I don't think I'll be too far off. Is my point? Like it's like that's how, like, when I be to go back a little, when I began in this industry, and I've been doing this for 30 years. um I started as an inker, and pretty much like that's most of my career. But um, I knew initially when I made the decision to start working on comics and whatnot, and as an inker, that I sucked, but I knew I had the potential to be good. So I feel that way about coloring. It's like my experience is limited. You know, it's like I dabble with acrylics and watercolor and computer coloring, but I haven't really like fully dived in yet. But I
I
made
see.
the decision to do that with my book. It's like after my experience with a couple of people coloring pages, um, it's like, I really hate working with a colorist because I wind up seeing 1,000 little things that I would do differently. And it's like, why not just do it myself?
Yeah, that's hard because I think that at some level you got to just let it go. Otherwise, you do
Yeah.
have to do it, right? You have to take ownership of it and say that's a clear indication that you're ready to start doing the coloring. To me, at
Yeah.
least. It, there's a thing that people have talked about online for a while that I've noticed is that they talk about it in regards to writing that if you're going to create your own book, that you should have somebody neutral and objective look at your story and the way it's structured and all that stuff, and to help make it better, right? Like an editor might do for
Right.
you, which I actually think is not a bad idea. But the thing you just talked about is something I also really believe in, is that you get the retro is going to be Peter's vision, good,
Yeah.
bad, up and down, left and right, right? And there's
Yeah.
something that, as an artist, that's kind of what we've always kind of done. Is you get what you get with us, and and the idea of having an editor in there helping you tweak everything is going to take all the mistakes out, and the mistakes are kind of the cool thing too, right? I mean, there's
Yeah.
there's a little bit of
Absolutely.
personality. Maybe that's a better word. So
Right.
I everybody's got an opinion about it. They're all valid. But that's kind of my approach too. Is I like to, you're going to get Matt Simecek's vision. Whether
Yeah.
whether you want to pick it apart or whether you think it in this and that. But you know, I noticed that with some artists like Frank Miller, for example, right?
Right.
You get Frank Miller whether you want it or not. And some of those Sin City panels are like almost abstract. Okay,
Yeah.
some
So
editor,
that's
if they gave them leeway, they would say, Frank, can you make that better? Can you make the face more detailed? And
yeah.
you're gonna. So yeah, that's kind of my
No,
thing.
totally. First, I'll say hello to Kenny, who's in the chat, and there's a couple of
Hey,
people
Kenny.
watching.
Oh,
More
cool.
people watch the show afterwards. Um, but yeah, you're totally right. Like, I love Sin City, and I love what Frank did on it, and yeah, I can imagine an editor looking it over and going, I like your older work where you were a lot tighter. Can you tighten this up? And it wouldn't be the same book, it
It
wouldn't
wouldn't.
be the same look to it, Um, I always go back to like I remember the first issue of Nexus. Nexus, Steve Rude
Yeah.
and Mike Bailey. The
Right.
first issue of Nexus was, he wasn't Steve Rude wasn't the artist he became. It was a lot stiffer and clunky, but I remember it with total love. Like I saw his potential in those images,
Yeah.
and I knew he would get there.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, there's also a thing where some artists look what you saw in Steve Rude at that point, he maybe never became, right? He became X now, but you always thought he was going to
Right.
become a Z or whatever, right? But that's just the beauty of it, is that when you look at artwork, people see their own thing. You know,
Yeah.
you look at my images and you see one thing, but it has an effect where it's subjective to people. So
Right.
that's the beautiful thing about artwork is that everybody sees what they want to see. And I think you're lucky if you get to the point where multiple people see different things. You know, that's hard to do in my mind, at least, to pull that off.
Yeah.
I want to. Can I show you some of my 3D sculpts?
Sure.
Um,
Yeah.
so these are. I'm gonna just go through them, and the people online can just watch. I'll just go through them. So I did these in 3D, and this is I did one for Tiger Blue. This is a
Right.
sculpt I did for his character. So these are 3D renders, turntable renders, so you can see the whole character.
Yeah.
And
It's amazing.
yeah, it came out. The picture that I worked off of, I think his name is Tom Dubois. I
Right.
think that's the name of the artist, and he nailed it big time. So I ended up, let's see if I can find it. I think this image right here is the image that he made, drew and painted. And I said, that's it. You know, I don't think I can come up with a better one than that. You know, let's see. This is the Cyber Frog I did that I'm actually giving away on my channel.
Cool.
Um,
Yeah, I gotta watch your videos, man. It's like there's only so much time in the day, but yeah.
there totally is. I mean, you know, but people love Cyber Frog, you know, and it's a big thing. And I thought I can't lose by making it. You know, it'll draw attention to my channel, and I love making the character. He's really fun.
Right.
Here's
I
Salamander.
remember I remember years ago, you know, like when Ethan did his first run of Cyber Frog, wasn't so much love back then, and you know, it's like my brother used to rib him about it, the character.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, what's this Cyber Frog? What's this goofy character?
Well, you know, looking at the way he is now, I think he's a better designed character than the original one. I think Ethan
Yeah,
streamlined him and made him better.
yeah,
You know,
definitely.
I had the impression that he did it back in the 90s or something, right? Is that right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So I think his in the back of his subconscious, he was always fine tuning that. So a decade or two later, he already had ideas about how to make, you know, that character even better. You know, I did a book and I think I can tweak it and make it better, you know, and I think he did it.
Well,
So,
I
I
mean,
mean,
that's it's along the lines of what we're talking about. Like, you know, he started where he started, but he improved on it, you know, throughout the
right.
years. As he became a better and better artist as well, you know, like it just looked better naturally.
Yeah. I mean, it really came together. The whole thing came together for him. So,
Yeah.
so I ended up, I was watching his live stream one day and, he said, I'm going to want to make figures, miniatures or something, maybe. And so for a long time, I've made my own, in 3D, I've made my own characters, like for HeroClix. I play HeroClix with my friends and my nephews, right? And do you know what
Right.
HeroClix is?
Yeah, yeah. The little
Yeah.
standy.
Yeah. But you know, they're expensive sometimes to buy. So if you want the rare Hulk, you could spend $50, $100, right? So
Yeah.
instead of doing that, I said, well, screw that. I can print it. I can make my own and sculpt it. And then my nephews have my nephew's got one's got Superman Prime, who's the best guy in the game, right? He's like $200 to buy. And the other one's
Wow.
got Thanos Super Chase, who's also like $200. They think it's
Great.
normal. Everybody gets those
Right.
kind of things, right? And I'm like, you
Yeah.
know, yeah, you're totally spoiled, man. Your uncle does 3D sculpts and you're lucky, you know.
Right.
But
That's cool.
so when Ethan, I heard him say that, I was like, I sent him a message and I said, you know, I do these. And I sent him a couple samples of my characters. And so I said, you know, I'll make you one. And so I made him the Salamandroid when I did that. So
Nice.
So here is my character.
Awesome.
So I was really excited to make her. I thought it ended up being what I wanted it to be. And it's got attitude, it's got body motion, it's got the whole thing, a lot like my cover, I guess. But so, and when I run my campaign, the first person in my campaign, the number one backer, is going to get a painted version of this for free.
Awesome.
Yeah, just to and then I'm gonna I don't know how many people are into buying miniatures, but I'm gonna end up selling like a limited number of these. I'm gonna hand paint. And right now I think, because my book has a limited palette, I think the way I'm gonna color it and paint it is that it's gonna look like have you ever seen like dark gunmetal gray? Like a graphite color? She'll be like that, like silver. It'll be silver on top, and then it'll be deep dark, and then her eyes and her lights will be all red. So
that would be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping that people enjoy it, and I'm in the process of printing them with my 3D printer right now, but they take like 13 hours to print each one. They're only like 4 inches tall. But they take forever to print, right? And then you print them, and then the arm is melted.
General Piggy in the chat.
Oh, General Piggy, what's up, man? I know that guy.
And he said, when's the campaign drop?
June 18th.
Yep.
And I'm launching on Michael Bancroft's channel. So I know that General Piggy knows him. And this here I did for Godlike by John Malin.
Right. It's nice.
And he had a lot of, there's not a lot of images of his character out there. Right?
No.
Not at least official ones. And so I really had to scrounge and find as much as I could to produce it. And then I ended up doing Gem Chalk for Mandy Summers. And so I ended up, she let me come on her show, which was really amazing for me. Yeah, I got like maybe 35, 40 signups just from being on her show. Awesome. I ended up, I sculpted this and I gave this to her so she can print them and sell them, Yeah. So anyway, all my things.
General says, I will be there for your campaign.
Who's that?
General Piggy says, I'll definitely be there for your
campaign. Cool. Drop. That's cool. So yeah, I haven't announced it to anybody that the first backer is going to get a free figure. So General Piggy's and you and I are the first people to know. So
there you go.
Yeah, and I'm pretty excited. I'm gonna stop sharing, and come back. Okay, there we go. So this is. I know you probably have done it before, but this is my first crowdfunding thing. So
I have limited experience, but it's. I love it to a certain extent. It's nerve-wracking. It's like from even before it starts to after it ends, it's a ton of work. And it's like all the cliches, like you check it often, and you get a sense of the audience and people's reactions to it, and you want to sort of improve it as you go, and you want to do as many shows as possible, all the things. But it's like I have a Patreon, so like there's no excitement with the Patreon. It's like it's monthly, it's always there, blah blah blah. But with the Indiegogo or Kickstarter or whatever platform, you know, it's like there's an excitement because it's a limited time. Even with the in demand after the fact, you know, it's still, you know, you get people involved and you get people excited about the project, and they start talking about it as you're talking about it, and you know,
Yeah,
it's really something cool that's, you know, developed into something, you know, that is regular for all of us creators, you know, making books and whatnot. It's like I think it's, I wouldn't say it's the future, but it's definitely the present, and I'm excited about seeing so many independent creators doing so many books through crowdfunding. You know, I didn't have this back when I began my career. You know, it's like otherwise you know, I worked from home in DC back in the day. I probably would have went directly into independent comics if this was around.
yeah. You know, the beauty is that it gives creators a lot more control over their
Yeah,
careers.
yeah,
I You know, the other thing for me that's different so I graduated from art school in '94. So
okay,
back then, you know, I couldn't. I wanted to do comic books, but I had a hard time because I didn't have reference for things. Visual. You had to go to the library to get a book, right?
right,
Let's say
yeah,
you're
yeah,
gonna do one. You needed guns or something, or you needed tanks or or buildings, right?
yeah,
And that was very challenging for me. And so now with my cell phone, I can take expressions and I can do the hands. You know, I can have reference photos for things. And for me, I don't know about you, but that was a big factor for me, being able to do that. And now I have more latitude. I can get something done.
yeah, yeah.
It's
You get the whole internet as well. You know, it's like, you know, it's like I don't know what a tank looks like. You know, well, there's millions of pictures out there. It's
Yeah.
like,
And then, you know, your point about the launch and stuff is totally, I think, how I feel about it. It is kind of a nerve wracking. I do want to improve everything as I go. I'm trying to get feedback from people to see what they like and what they don't like, right? Which is difficult
really,
because people want to be polite. You know, if I put out something that isn't like they don't like it or something, they're not going to tell me, right? They're
yeah,
just going to ignore it or something, you know, and that's the only way you can kind of tell if you're on the right track. You know, like the color, when I did the colors, I didn't know that that worked at all.
right.
I can't see the forest for the trees, right? You know what I mean? So it
Yeah,
wasn't until I actually spoke to people, um, that they were like, yeah, that really does kind of work. And so, I have no idea, man. I'm literally like, you know, blind, you know, in the dark sometimes about what to do. But um,
well, you know, it's like my experience is like I did okay. So for retro, I did a short Kickstarter. Jet, I was supposed to have a lot of money coming to me, and I thought the project was, you know, like I had the money to do it, and blah blah blah. Anyway, I did this back in 2019, 5 days, and I was like, I don't know what's gonna happen. I'm just gonna throw it up there. I want to be part of this crowdfunding thing going on. I've been, you know, part of other people's campaigns and helping them, you know, fund their projects and whatnot. But it was like, it's time for me to do one. So, you know, I didn't know what the reaction would be. I was kind of worried, like, yeah, it's like I have lots of people liking my stuff, but I don't know if that means they want my stuff, you know.
sure.
So, you know, it's like I came in for 5 days. I came in just under 2,000 with 80 backers,
Okay.
and, and I was like, that's fantastic. That's like, you know,
For like a couple days.
yeah.
I mean, okay.
so so it was like, you know, part of me relaxed after that. It was like, okay, I got a gist of what things look like out there for me and my project, so you just gotta break the ice sort of with your first campaign, and you might make mistakes, but that's okay. That's part of the process.
Yeah.
And it gave me a gauge of my audience and what to expect, and I'll do things even better next time around and so forth. Like, once I get this book done, which will be around summertime or whatever, I'm going to fulfill the Kickstarter and then do an Indiegogo in the fall.
Okay.
And that will be a bigger, better campaign based off of things I've learned since then.
Well, one of the benefits you have is that you've been a pro for so long, and people recognize your name, right? You have name notoriety, and I don't. I'm nobody, right? I'm totally new, so that's
Right.
a bridge I have to get past, right?
Right. But you're making waves. Like you're talking to the right people. You're doing the right things. From what
Right.
I see, and your work is phenomenal. It's
Oh,
super tight, and like I said, you got a great design sense as well as color sense, and it really does stand out. Like, and to me, it's like you're a shoe-in, as they say.
well, or to quote Jim Carrey, you're saying I have a shot.
You have a shot.
I got a 1 in a million shot. I'll take it, right? I'll take it. Well, I appreciate that. I mean, definitely, because like I said, it's hard to get feedback from people about stuff. And
Right.
So it does really help me quite a bit, to be honest. Um, I I'm gonna feel better after I launch because I'll have an idea of
Yeah.
what I'm gonna be able to make money wise. Because I can't make a comic book if I'm starving to death.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know,
No, totally.
so
Like it's business. Business is something I heard recently. Like the business part of it is 80% of it. It's like the art matters, the story matters, the coloring, the packaging, the quality of the book, and blah blah blah. But it's really about marketing it and promoting it, and getting the word out to make enough money to do a second issue, as well
do a
as
second, yeah,
live on top of that. It's like
right.
you gotta have a life.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that because how like when people get divorced, the wife and the husband, they'll split their assets or something, right?
Right.
This is where it does apply in my mind. If I was married and I have a wife who was like a business sense wife, right? And she knew how to do the thing you're describing, right?
Right.
That's where it huge pays off. They can do all the promotion and they can, do all that, and you can do the artwork. Um, but I think that Ethan, I think his wife actually helps him out and everything. I think she's an accountant or something, right?
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe.
But
Um,
it would help, right? I mean, having
yeah.
somebody in your corner like that would be so powerful.
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot to ask from a partner. And let me just mention General Piggy's latest comment first. ShadowPunk has been doing a good job at getting his name around and showing what he's capable of. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
thanks,
that's
man.
nice. So I know a few power couples. I mean, my brother Jimmy Palmiotti. I don't know if you know him, but
I know the name.
yeah, okay. So his wife is Amanda Connor, and they're
Oh, okay.
both in the business, and they're both working on separate things and working on projects together as well. And they've both been doing it for years and years, and they both have a good sense of the quality of the work as well as the business side of things. And and it's worked in both their favor, and that's true of a bunch of couples out there that have a partner. But it's like if you have a new partner, it's hard to push on. It's like
Oh, totally.
do
Yeah.
do my do my finances or whatever. It's
Yeah.
like, it's a lot to ask. Trust me, I learned by mistake.
I bet. But I mean, but you make a good point. They have to be a certain type of person.
Yeah, they absolutely have to, and for me, it's like it's enough to have a girlfriend who just likes what I do. They don't
Yeah.
have to know the insides and outsides or even read my books or whatever. It's like as long as they appreciate what I do.
Well, I'll put it in these terms though. If let's say you were Ethan, right? You Ethan Van
Right,
Sciver, and your book made $800,000 in the first issue or whatever,
right.
your girlfriend would be like, "How can I help?"
Yeah,
Right? Because she's not stupid. She sees a good thing when she knows a good thing when she sees it.
that's
Right?
true.
And so
Yep.
I'm on that kind of incentivizes everybody to get on board. I used to work with a girl who was a huge Amanda Conner fan, and
Right.
I used to collect when I had money back in the day. I collected original artwork, so I convinced her to buy one of Amanda's drawings from the Green Arrow and was it Green Arrow and the Black Canary wedding or something.
Oh, okay. All right.
And it was a big deal. It was like she was so ecstatic that she bought the page, and yeah, I could tell that Amanda had like a real good thing. She connected well with people, with viewers,
Oh
and
my
her art.
God. It's like so my brother's outgoing, and he, I hear from people all the time. Oh, he's such a nice guy. He's so, and it's true. It's like I don't deny it. I grew up with the guy. But Amanda's the same way, if not more. Like she's so outgoing and
Okay,
personable and charming and everything you could possibly want in a creator. It's like
wow.
so. Oh, in fact, it's not 100% set in stone, but this graphic novel I'm working on might just have a Amanda Conner cover.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
That would be really neato, right? Because
yeah.
if
I
there is,
mean,
I
uh,
mean, I think that the people that like every artist, those big artists like that, they have a niche of fans, right?
right.
And so so maybe like the people that normally would buy retro, you've got those people all set. But if you had a cover from her, they could it could draw them in, I
Yeah,
guess.
well, not for retro, but for this graphic novel designated.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
she'll be doing a cover. Like, hopefully it all works out. She's not cheap, so so
Oh,
there's
I'm
that.
sure. I can imagine. Her time is valuable because she's a big deal
Yeah,
now, you know.
yeah.
Um,
But so we've been going an hour. At this point, I will ask if there's anything we haven't covered that you want to mention. I put your campaign link down below the video description box, and also your Twitter. If you want any other links, I could throw them in there after the fact. Um, if there is anything you want to
I think
mention.
that's yeah, those are both really good. I appreciate you doing that. I didn't even think
Yeah.
about it, you know. Um, but yeah, I want it. My goal is like I imagine is just to get the word out to people, to anybody that doesn't know my work.
Right.
That's really just a goal, you know. So hopefully they can watch your video and get a sense of what ShadowPunk is about. Um,
Yeah.
and I totally appreciate you letting me come on. And
Oh,
it was pretty last minute, kind of, wasn't it?
it's like I said to myself last month that I scoped out this month to get a lot more work done. I was like, I'm not having any guests. But then I did have one person lined up, and then yesterday I had my friend on because we're doing a show next month. And then, you popped up, and I was like, what the hell? 3 guests this month.
That's cool. I appreciate it big time, man.
Yeah, well, it's like I really like what you put together, and I think you got something special. So, yeah, I want to get the word out for you, as much as I can. So, by all
Well, cool.
means.
I appreciate it so much. I'm totally new, and I'm just getting online with people and talking to people is like Star Trek to me. So it's
Right.
like, it's like, oh, this is weird, but it's gone really well for me. But I've talking to people and getting to know people and whatnot. But yeah, I totally appreciate it, man.
Cool. Well, so I guess we'll wrap it up now. So if you've been watching, please give it a like. If you haven't, subscribe. If you want to support me and all that I do, I have a Patreon, or you can tip me directly. I have a PayPal.me. All the links down below. I have a if you're on Facebook, I have a Facebook group called Create Our Own. You can join that, and send out links and show off artwork to your campaign and your comics and all that jazz. Yeah, that's it. I'll be around some point tomorrow. I'm trying to stream every day. Don't know what time, but I'm just trying to be busy, trying to get work done. And thank you all for watching. So